What's going on, YouTube land? So I'm gonna do a quick little intro here, nothing crazy. We launched out of Ladd's Marina at the Delta out of Stockton. See if we can find some fish in other spots. Gonna go for a little bit of a run here. But I'll end this thing sweet just so we can get into the fishing. But anyways, had a good day. It was fun. Check it out. It's gonna be awesome.
All right, you guys go ahead and blast off. Both 1, 2, and 3. All right, hey, be safe. Where's he going? Don't worry about where he's going.
What's up, guys? So I'm going to do a little bit of some sparse narration as I'm fishing here, just kind of showing you when I catch fish, little updates here and there, how I'm catching fish. Some channels can talk all day while they're fishing. I'm just not going to do that. I don't want to edit like that. So anyways, made my way in some backwater here, started throwing a worm around under this bridge just to kind of see if they're back here chewing. During the tournament, the Delta was actually pretty tough, just for a couple of weeks. It was during the post spawn. I caught one there, wasn't a keeper, and then as you see, I kind of make my way under this bridge and start catching some fish. And yes, guys, I do see the bug on the lens. It got stuck on that trip down here. It will be removed here in just a little bit.
It's got little nuts to it.
I reached for the net a little premature there. Fish kind of popped off. Probably just had him skin hooked. Now I know it's first thing in the morning, and typically I want to be throwing reaction and such, which you'll see here in a little bit I start doing and catching fish, but this is pretty much just to see if these fish are really active or not and see what's going on. So I hook into this one. This one was my first keeper here of the day. That fish ended up being about 1.75 pounds. I make my way a little bit further down, pick up a blade, start throwing some reaction around. The water stain is nice enough in these blue skies to be throwing a blade. This kind of gave me a little bit of a idea on how active they are.
Solid. $2.11.
Shit, I didn't realize there's bugs all over this. Sorry, guys. So I keep the blade in my hand just to kind of see what's going on. And right here you see my second blade fish. They're definitely hitting it. They're not just swiping at it. So that's a great sign.
Seems like the blade's doing it. $2.02.
I haven't moved much, probably about 5 feet or so. Just kind of making my way down here. But as I'm coming up to some of these bushes on the ends here on the sides, I really want to pick this stuff apart. It is a high tide, so the fish should be up in that stuff. So I pick up a worm here and start making my way down this bush. So far, I've been hit on a drop shot, on a spinnerbait, and now flipping this worm. So this is a great sign that this is potential back here.
211.
Again, I've probably only moved the boat 20 feet or so, slowly making my way down this slough, working a spinnerbait and a worm as I kind of roll. Hook into another fish here with the blade.
I got a side hook, I think.
Again, chewing it, not just slapping at it. This fish weighed 2.02 pounds. So about 20 minutes later, I realized that the wind starts to pick up, and for some reason they're just kind of slapping at the blade now, not really connecting. So I went ahead and tied a crankbait on just to see if I can get them to connect better with a treble. And I started making my way again down, rolling it a little bit slower, kind of bumping some stuff, keeping it in the grass. I connect with one, he's not a keeper. He kind of pops off, no problem. After making my way about 10 yards or so, I get up to the bush that I was just throwing under where I picked that fish out of. Pick up my worm, start picking this stuff apart. You don't want to give any of this shady stuff up. Really pick it apart. End up setting on this fish here. He ended up not being a keeper, but it's a good sign still that they're in the stuff here. Another crankbait fish. So it's about 30 minutes later, and I realized that the wind really started to blow. So I decided to pick up a buzzbait to see if these fish are going to react with the wind change. As you can see, I just kind of stayed in one spot, making my way very slowly down that bank. And sure enough, one connected with the buzzbait. So this is really good, guys. The only problem is we're not finding quality fish, but we are definitely around active fish. So we just have to keep going. Right hand side, but then on the left side I notice all this wood here compacted together, so I pitch a buzzbait in there. And my second cast here, one explodes on it. He was all wrapped up. But this fish ends up being my first call of the day.
202.
All right, guys, so a little bit of an update here. Pretty nasty water conditions. I was able to find a little back slough here that actually clears up pretty well. Obviously, I'm catching fish here, but they're not the fish that we need. I got a bunch of 2-pounders, a couple that might be close to 3, I don't know. But anyways, we're sitting on about 11 pounds right now. It is 9:35, 3 o'clock weigh-in. So we're gonna be fishing back here, I think, for a little bit. I heard that it's been pretty tough. It's been tough to find decent fish. So these to me are decent fish. So when you're around fish like this, there's got to be a few in here that are pretty big. So we're gonna just keep fishing. It doesn't seem like they're really picky on whatever I want to throw at them. Caught them on top water, spinnerbait, crankbait, worm, drop shot. So I don't think they're really too picky right now, but it seems like they're pretty fired up on this buzzbait deal. So let's go ahead and get back at it and see what we can do.
So we're still catching some rats. Hasn't been great, but we're catching fish, and we're just hoping to come across some decent fish here. Like I said, I got about 11 pounds or so. Starting to get hot, stripping down. And this goes on for a good 3 hours. Same kind of deal. This fish is all hung up. Wasn't a big fish, but he just got me all hung up with a buzzbait. Dove down into some sticks or something. So after this fish, I knew we had to move. We had to go find a kicker fish. So I decide to make a move into some water that I typically don't like to fish, but I know that big girls sometimes love to hang out in the mud. So I make my way into some other slough. Obviously, you guys see the difference in coloration of water. I just pick up a worm and I'm soaking it. I'm just putting it through there into these bushes, and sure enough, there's fish in there. Whenever I'm fishing water like this, I'm typically leaving my worm or jig in there for twice as long, if not 3 times as long as I typically would, so the fish can actually find it. You know, guys, although these fish aren't calling, they're seeming to be as big as the fish I have, which is a better sign. don't even know why I weighed that one. But I got about 20 minutes left to fish before I have to take off. I'm just kind of making my way down this concrete here. I probably retied 10 times while fishing this concrete. Super important that you retie, especially when you're fishing jagged edges and stuff like that. Don't ever think that your fluorocarbon or mono or whatever is going to take that kind of abuse. I don't care what kind of company it is. You still got to retie. So I find a nice little hole here, nice shady pocket, and I pitch back into it. I can tell right off the bat that this is a decent fish. I knew he was going to call.
Call?
I call up about a pound, so I have a little over 12 pounds now. This is where it gets interesting. I literally have about 5 minutes, 5 to 7, 8 minutes left to fish. And watch this. Make my way into this shade. Don't ever leave the shade behind, guys.
Yeah, baby. Yeah. I knew there was one in here. I knew there was one in here. Still spawning. Oh. That's a big fish. Seven pounds on the dot. 7-pounder. Get rid of number 3. 7-pounder, baby boy. You need to put a call tag on him, but I'll do it anyways. Check out that call. Boom. Woo! Nick of time. Hey, would you help me fucking bag these real quick?
All right, guys. So we had a pretty fun day. Probably caught like, I don't know, 30 fish or so. Tucked back into some areas that I like to go. Went for a little bit of a ride from the marina. It was really cool, man. Had a good time. As you saw, man, I was catching fish on whatever I wanted to. Not the quality fish that we needed, but right at the end there. I'm talking, I was checking the time. I probably had, I don't know, 7 minutes left
to fish before I had to take off, and I made that right pitch, and we caught that one that was high twos, almost 3 pounds, and then we caught that one 7-pounder right at the end, 690. So anyways, we ended up getting second place big fish. Some guy snaked a 9-pounder. Congratulations to him. That's a sweet fish. It's like 9 something, almost 10 pounds actually. And then that was first place. And then we ended up getting fourth place in the tournament. I had a good time. It was really cool, but I don't know, there's probably almost 40 guys fishing it or something like that. So fourth, I'll take it. It was cool. I was not expecting it at the end there. We ended up with, what did we end up? 16.38 pounds. So it wasn't the biggest bag, but it was a great bag. Had a good time. Wish we would have caught bigger fish throughout the day. Really could not break that 3-pounder mark, and then that 7-pounder definitely helped us. So, but anyways, next tournament is going to be Clear Lake. So fishing a 3-day kind of thing out there. It's going to be actually 3 consecutive turkey shoots back to back to back. So every day will be a different tournament for that, and that'll be Friday through Sunday kind of thing. So we're going to go fish that thing next time. Anyways, like, comment, and subscribe, guys. I'm loving this stuff. It's really fun. So we'll see you out there.